He was only working a little overtime. He never expected to walk straight into a murder scene. Tom froze in the corner, shaking. He did not dare move until the killer dragged the body away. Only then did he panic and rush into a nearby restroom. But the very next second, he found the company security guard lying there. Tom rushed over to check, but by accident, he triggered the flush. Terrified the killer might hear the noise, Tom quickly shut the stall door. Just to be safe, he climbed up so his feet would not show. Before he could even catch his breath, the killer walked into the restroom. Tom's heart nearly stopped, but the killer went straight to the sink. Seeing that he was only there to wash blood off himself, Tom finally relaxed just a little, and then the killer suddenly spoke.
How you doing in there, Barney? You want to toss me your keys?
The moment Tom looked down and saw the keys on the dead guard's body, he knew he was in trouble. Thinking fast, he carefully dropped down, and just before the killer came in, slipped through the gap into the next stall. But before he could calm down, the infrared sensor lit up. He was about to be exposed, so at the exact moment the killer stood up, Tom hit the flush too.
Stay there.
Then the killer walked straight out of the restroom. Only after the noise outside stopped did Tom finally crawl out in panic. But the second he opened the next door, he ran into another co-worker who was also working late. Tom immediately told him about the killer. The two of them rushed to the elevator to escape, but the elevator had already been shut down, so they ran to the emergency stairwell instead. But the killer had locked that too, with every exit blocked. They had no choice but to return to the office. Tom told his co-worker to use the computer to call the police. He himself went back to his desk to get his phone, but in the very next second, he saw the killer walking straight toward them.
Tom, the internet. Shut up.
They did not even have time to shut the computer down before the killer arrived and noticed the glowing screen. As the killer slowly got closer, the two men hiding under the desk were terrified. Luckily, the killer did not suspect anything. He simply turned off the computer and walked away. Only after they were sure he had gone far enough did they finally lift their heads and run in the opposite direction. Then Tom remembered that the boss was still somewhere inside the building, so he told his co-worker to find some way to call the police while he went to warn the boss himself. But when he reached the boss's office, the room was empty.
Where'd you go?
On the other side, his co-worker found his phone, but the first thing he did was call his wife. The call had barely connected when the killer was already standing behind him.
Hold on a second. Yes.
Are you okay?
Hey, no, I'm fine.
The killer placed a hand on his shoulder and made him say goodnight to his family. Then he made him hang up the phone. He pulled out a gun and asked if anyone else was still working late in the building.
No, it's just me.
The killer patted him on the head and turned away. The co-worker thought he had survived, but the killer suddenly came back and wrapped a wire tight around his neck. Not long after that, Tom returned to the office area, but his co-worker was gone. There was no time to think. Tom quietly slipped back to his desk. The moment he got his phone, he tried calling the police, but even after waiting a long time, the phone made no sound at all. When he looked down, he realized the battery was dead. With no other choice, he put the phone on charge. Then he turned around and saw his co-worker's body lying right beside him. Tom went numb instantly, but before he could even react, the killer suddenly came back. Luckily, Tom hid in time. That was the only reason the killer did not spot him. While the killer was moving the body, Tom quietly got up and slipped into the storage room. But while watching the killer, he suddenly realized the killer was looking right toward him. Then the killer's phone rang. He answered it while dragging the body toward the storage room. Tom was seconds away from being exposed, and he was already starting to lose hope. But at that exact moment, the killer stopped walking. Then he suddenly turned around and headed toward Tom's desk. It was Tom's girlfriend calling. The killer hung up the phone. Then he started looking through the names and photos inside it, and that meant only one thing. He now knew there was still someone alive in the office.
Tom. Tom. Tom.
Luckily, Tom had already slipped out, but every path was still blocked, so he had no choice but to hide in another room. Thinking fast, Tom lit a piece of paper and held it up to the smoke detector, but after waiting, nothing happened. Then suddenly, Tom noticed someone in the building across from him. He jumped onto the desk and waved frantically at the person, but they never saw him. And on the other side, the killer had already started checking the rooms, one by one, on Tom's floor.